Well, many Americans went to the polls today to vote in state and local elections. Some of the races are being closely watched around the country for any impact they might have beyond their own states. The same goes for some controversial ballot initiatives that were up for vote. Tom Foreman joins me now with the Raw Politics. Tom, let's start with one of the high-profile races in Kentucky. I know you're watching.
Yeah, absolutely. The Democratic governor there, Steve Beshear, we're now projecting has pretty easily here gone on to re-election at this point. That's an encouraging sign, obviously, Anderson, for Democrats all over the country when they see a win like that. On the other hand, we're watching very closely tonight Virginia, where the Republicans, if they can take 2 seats in the state Senate, will then hold the Senate, the House, the governorship, the lieutenant governorship, and the Attorney General's office, all of which could make that a very unpleasant battleground state for President Obama as he goes into re-election if they hold all those top offices there in Republican hands. So we're watching a lot of these races around the country. There's one where we have the results at this point, Anderson.
You're also watching 2 ballot initiatives in particular. Which ones?
Yeah, a couple that are really important here. Let's look at Ohio here. This is the ballot issue about collective bargaining. Earlier this year, the governor signed into law a law that says that they're going to really restrict collective bargaining in this country, in Ohio, for the government workers. There are about 350,000 of them. There's been a gigantic battle going on as to whether or not they're going to keep his ban or defeat his ban. It's still really early numbers. We'll have to see what happens as that shapes up over the evening. The other one, though, and that again is also seen as a test battle for whether union forces will be strong in the presidential race. And the last one is in Mississippi, where there's a vote on the definition of a person. Basically, this initiative number 26 says from the moment that an egg is fertilized, it becomes a person with all the rights attended to a person. This would basically outlaw all sorts of forms of abortion. Anderson, it has created debate even within conservative Christian communities, some of which say this is necessary, an end to run around Roe Wade, and others say this just goes too far. We'll be watching that as the numbers start coming in.
Around the country for any impact they might have beyond their own states. The same goes for some controversial ballot initiatives that were up for vote. Tom Foreman joins me now with the Raw Politics. Tom, let's start with one of the high-profile races in Kentucky. I know you're watching.
Yeah, Anderson, this is another case of what we're seeing all over tonight, a real split between Democrats, Republicans, liberals, and conservatives, split decisions in terms of what they want. In Kentucky, big win for the Democrats. Steve Beshear reelected to hold on to his office as the governor there. That makes Democrats obviously very happy all across the country. We're projecting at 56% to 35%, a big win there. But move over to Ohio. Here's another big win for the Democratic side, you would say. Over there, the governor had signed into law a measure which would really restrict the power of unions. The unions came out in force and said, let's repeal it. They succeeded in a great big way, according to our projection, in Ohio. But this is why it's a split decision. On the same vote today, people there also wanted to opt out of health care. Largely symbolic, but they're saying they do not want to be forced to buy health care under the health care reform bill. Let's move down to Mississippi, where there's some other ballot initiatives. Same sort of split decision. This question of defining a person, conservatives wanted to say from the moment of conception, that's a person. It was clearly an end run on Roe v. Wade on abortion rights. Voters there said, including many conservatives, no, this goes too far. We're calling that as a win for the no vote. That was rejected. But in the same vote, they also said, you're going to need a voter ID. We haven't called it yet, but that's clearly leading. You're going to need a voter ID to vote. That's largely associated with Republican voters. And, oh, by the way, the longtime Republican governor there is leaving. He's Haley Barbour. He's being replaced, we have called it, by another Republican. So as you can see, all night long, a series of mixed decisions here. Democrats can see some wins. Republicans can see some wins. Right now, at least, no really clear trends.